What's that Beatles song that I think it's Strawberry Field? That living is easy with, yeah, it's Strawberry Field. Living is easy with eyes closed. I'm not gonna sing it to you. I'll spare you that. Misunderstanding all you see. That line's kind of sticks with me. Like what they're saying is, if living is, well, it's what they're saying. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all you see. When your eyes are closed, you understand what the fuck's going on. That it's sort of an allegory to being asleep. And a lot of lyrics have this kind of stuff in them. In fact, you know, most of them do. The Beatles in particular, a lot of that stuff was written by Arno, what's his name? Guy from the Tavistock Institute. I'll look it up later and I'll put his name on the screen. But I was thinking more on those lines and what they're saying. But the idea that ignorance is bliss, right? Like if you don't know what's going on, then it's much easier. For me, it was much, much harder. My ignorance is supposedly bliss days. When I didn't know what was going on, I didn't understand the nature of the place I lived in or what I was or what any of this was about. I was fucking miserable. I was black-pilled as fuck, you know? Just living poorly. You know, living poorly. A lot of fear. A lot of anger, a lot of unhappiness. Yeah, I was a science guy. I was a science boy from a young age. I remember one of my Christmas presents was Scientific American at like 11. They thought, I don't know what they thought I was going to be, but yeah, my aunt Mary Jo got me Scientific American as a subscription when I was 11 years old, and I got it for like 10 years. She kept getting it for me, which was kind of cool. So I was curious about how things worked, and you know, the universe and space and all that stuff that I now know. I mean, I might as well put that time into learning more about Star Trek, because at least I'd have, you know, there'd be something of value to it. But yeah, I was more miserable. But ignorance isn't always bliss. In my case, it was whatever the opposite of that is, you know. Fucking misery. I just, you know, many times I'd be like, I'd get upset about things and be like, what is the point? What's the point of any of this? You know, this is all, you know, I'm descended from a monkey. I'm on a spinning water ball that water sticks to for some reason, even though that's an experiment you could do with a basketball and a cup of water. But it's different because it's much bigger. Okay, yeah, right. It's just bigger. So if it's bigger, blank space sticks to the ball. There's always that blank space and all this stuff. Therefore, you know, the thing is, they make up stuff to fill in the blanks, like this gravity thing. They use that to be the glue for a lot of the dumb bullshit. What's gravity? Oh, well, can you measure gravity? Well, no. Can you see gravity at all? No, not at all. Then how do we know that there's gravity here? Because if there wasn't gravity, all this other stuff wouldn't work. So therefore, there must be gravity. Okay. If you say so. You run into a lot of dead ends when you go in the scientific route. There's a thing as scientific method, right? Which is like where you test something yourself. You know, you do it a number of times to try to get some sort of understanding of whatever it is you're trying to learn. There's a real definition to it that I've forgotten, but that I don't care. So there is a thing, a scientific method, and then there is science, capital S, science, where it's more like a religion. you know, and it's followed like a religion and defended that way, like zealously, you know. You know how it is out there especially in social media spaces, arguing with the science people, and they always try to make fun of religious people. It's like, well, you're doing the same thing, you know. Your figure, except they don't have like a main figurehead. Dawkins, maybe. Fucking who else is the millions and billions guy? Everything's millions and billions. Sagan. Carl Sagan. Shakin' Sagan has 15 hits in the U.S. top 40. Yeah, it's the same thing. They're doing the exact same thing. But yeah, I wasn't happier. I'm way happier now, with the understanding of what some might look at once they begin to learn things and discover spiritual knowledge or esoteric knowledge, or even if they're coming through the occult door, however they get there. Some of the findings that you will run into are nightmarish, kind of. They're existential crisis times 100. But to me, I mean, there is a little bit of that, but it's way more. It's easier to understand that than to try to figure out why things are the way they were presented, you know. I'm way happier. I'm knowing this stuff, even though it's kind of crazy to get your head around. I'm happier knowing the truth, you know. I mean, you always will be. It's just like, you know, your friends keep secrets from you or something. You know, your girlfriend's cheating on you. Everybody knows. They don't want to hurt your feelings. I've been in that position a couple hundred times, but I don't know what that says about me. Whatever. But the thing is, you always want to know, no matter how much it's kind of going to suck. So I'd never not want to know about the nature of things and what's really happening here, which is a spiritual war. It's a spiritual battle. That's all it is. This is just where it's taking place. And you can't see it. You can't measure it. But it must exist, or else everything I would say is wrong, right? I'm just as bad as a scientist. I guess it's how you look at it. I was very, although I always studied, what the fuck is going on here? Dude, really, buddy? Good job. Fucking idiot. Yeah, although I've always studied, like occult shit since I was a teenager, I never really believed in spirits or ghosts or things like that. I always looked at occultism and secret societies and what would be considered conspiracy as just men doing things in the name of, you know, even the ones that worship gods, you know, whatever god it happened to be. You know, here in the West is Moloch, in Celtic it's Balor, you know, or Baal in some places. All these different demon gods that eat kids or whatever, that they have statues of in some places. It's creepy. To me, it was just men worshiping the thought or the idea of these things, never thinking they're real. But I'm glad I had that background, because once I pierced the veil and got over here on this side of things, it helped to fill in a lot of the blanks. Like if I just came in cold to all this stuff, like what happened with me and the demons in 2017, I would be extra confused. It took a while anyway, but once I knew what I was dealing with, I had that extra self-education background to fill in a lot of those blanks. It's just self-education. That's what you got to do. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to learn anything from school. School it's about training you to obey. It's about control. in the smoking gun here, and it's easy to see, like, I went to school, high school, and if I did a test, I'd do well, but if I didn't show up for class, I'd fail, right? So then the next year, they would put me in like a lower class, like an easier class. So I was going backwards. It wasn't because of the academic work, it was because of what I could understand and you know, how I performed in that area. It was because I didn't behave correctly. I didn't listen to them. I kind of did my own thing. And because of that, I failed. So what are you really being graded on? What are you really learning? You know? You learn to obey. That's it. So that's what it's about. I wish I figured that out sooner, though. Yeah, of course I'm going into Ross. What the fuck? I'll be back in a little bit. I'm still on my band from my regular channel, but I'll be back. I was going to say stronger than ever, but I'll probably be back about half strength. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.